Hi everyone.
And welcome back to another video, Sisterly Conversation. And our topic is should I sign or shouldn't I? The importance of knowing if or not to sign documents for others and how it may affect your credit.
Okay, well, first of all, what I think is very, very important when it comes to signing documents is to make sure you read. This is documents even for your own self. Make sure that you read um, carefully what you're signing because this is how you end up in legal problems. But when it comes to signing documents for another person, I would say definitely find out what it is you're signing. Find out if it have long term. What's the word I'm looking for?
Long term issues,
Yeah,
long term.
like long term ramifications.
Right.
I think that's the word I'm looking for.
Hmm.
And you know, find out exactly how it can affect you in but it can affect you in a negative way if you're even if you're trying to help or even for family members.
Hmm.
Okay, because sometimes I see a lot of people in court cases when watching court cases who was trying to do people a favor and then it ended up backfiring on them. Oh my gosh. The worst one I saw, I just said that and I remember something. The worst one I saw was a case on, I think it was the People's Court, or was it divorce? No, it was divorce court, where this guy was in love with this girl,
Oh, yeah.
and he signed off on a paper because she said, "I will marry you if you sign your house over to me." Not his
Your
house,
land.
his land over to me. Now his grandmother had left all this stuff to him, and because he was in love and he wanted to marry her, he decided to sign over half of the land to her. Now he knows, besides being in love and all that, you know, he doesn't know her to that extent to be um going into such a deep binding contract with
Right.
her,
Hmm.
right? Like, yeah, you're in love and stuff, but even based off of the court case, she started treating him like dirt. She didn't even care about nothing about him. Some of the things she said to him was so distasteful. And I was like, whoa, you know? So just be careful before you sign off on documents for people. You could talk. Oh,
All right. First of all, let's just establish something. So, I will speak about the Caribbean. In the Caribbean, we don't really study credit
mm-hmm.
because that's like every time you hear the word credit card, you're thinking, oh, you got interest. Like, I don't know how the banks work with credit cards, so I can't really speak about it. But we were taught from young, don't get a credit card because obviously you don't want to be paying continuous interest all the time and the money belongs to the bank and you got paid back and blah 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 blah. So this was actually a kind of a culture shock for a lot of Caribbean people because up here you must have credit. It is a must. You need it for home, you need it for rent, you need it for everything. If you have good credit, you go on clear. If you got bad credit, you're in the I don't know what the word to call it, but you in deep sea, right? So let me just establish that first. And this will go for the first world countries, right? The first world countries like Canada, America, England, and the other parts of the world.
Yeah, but we don't really know much about the other.
Yeah, well, those three for sure we know about with the credit.
Oh, I only know about Canada. But anyway, go ahead.
So, anyways, I agree with Shanita wholeheartedly. You have to be very careful about what you're signing on and what you are doing for people because you might think that people are, trustworthy and stuff like that. And the person can land you down the drain. I remember we have a family member who lives up here and she had no come up and her friend wanted a phone. She helped her friend with the phone and that ended up giving her bad credit because the friend wasn't paying the bill or whatever. So those things, I ain't saying you can't help people, but you gotta know how how your bread butter, if that's for lack of a better saying, but you gotta know like, okay, if I do this, could this give me bad credit, or can I just pay off one time? Because I always hear people say I give money not to, I give the amount that I could give because I can't lose it. I can't. Wait, so no, like you can't lose by it. There we go. Right. But for me personally, I don't mind like helping a very close family member like my sister. But if it's a friend, I will have second thoughts because at the end of the day, you can't trust everybody. I mean, yes, life is a risk as well, but in my view, I have to know like there has to be some kind of contract, something there, so that they could understand that I have nothing to do with this or whatever, but make sure that my credit is good or whatever. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, and as Tony said just now, not only friends but even family
Mhm.
members. And now she also mentioned something as simple as a phone, something as simple as a car payment.
Yeah.
These are like little things that people might not think are that serious because it's not something like a house or buying a house or whatever. But again, as Tony mentioned, credit is super important here in Canada. This is how you purchase your house. This is how you do all the important things you need to do. They're gonna check your credit, right? So it's just very very important for you to make sure that I would rather give you cash,
Correct.
or even if I gotta pay for something with my credit card for you, as long as it's not something that's ongoing.
Right.
Like for example, as Tony mentioned, a bill phone. Now, if I take out a bill phone for you uh, on credit or whatever, whereby your responsibility is to pay off that every month, but then I have it on my account. Every time you miss a payment, that is my responsibility. So if you miss it, it means it's my responsibility to
Put
pay
on your credit.
because it's on my credit, right?
Right.
And then at the end of the day, if you don't pay and I don't pay, the body that can get the messed up end of this day
Is you.
is me.
Mhm.
So things like this is very important, and don't let nobody guilt trip you into thinking, oh, what is your family member? Oh, what is just this little thing? Oh, well, you's my partner. Me and you is together forever, and all this stuff. And try to get you to take out a loan on a car for them and pay financing, right, on a car, something like that, because they could come and pay off the car for a year, right? But year two, when it's still time to continue the payments, and you and them break up,
Right.
and then they have the car, but the payments, and they're supposed to be making the payments, but the car is in the car is in their name, but the credit is in your name or whatever. Then they start paying the fool all of a sudden, all that together forever gone through the window, and then you're left with the mess. So all of these things are very, very important. Another story I have is I remember when I wasn't first here, but it was in my beginning years here as, like, I would say not really a newcomer because like I said we've been here for the time we were kids, but back as a newcomer as an adult,
Right.
right? And I remember one of my mom's friends or associates or whatever had mentioned to her that she wanted me to sign off on a house. She's telling my mother, oh, she doesn't have to make the payments on the house. She just have to, put her name on it. My name will be on it, so it'd be like kind of like a double thing. But then I'll make the payments or whatever. And my mother had mentioned to me, I already done tell she very hard no, because that wasn't gonna happen. Because not only did I not have a house as yet or whatever, I was in the process of now building my future in Canada, but
And building your credit as
right,
well.
but this person also had grown children, and my first thoughts to my mother, like my first conversation, was why can't one of her children,
Do it.
why can't she put one of her children on the house? Well, that's her child. The house is gonna go down to the child, right? So I found that kind of suspicious, and yeah, she's like, oh, I'm gonna make the payments because she used to have government housing, etc. And then she decided she wanted to buy a house for herself. I said no, and then not only did I say no, but my mom spoke to another friend of hers, and they said, "Hell no! Don't ever, 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 ever let Shinta put her name down for somebody else with where credit is concerned.
Right.
It will mess her up if the person does not pay, and I'm pretty sure she wants to have a house and all that in the future." So that was the conversation, but I had already done tell my mother it was a no already. But lo and behold, the person could not make the payments, and like a couple of years later, the person could not make the payments on the house anymore, and then they had to end up giving up the house. So you see, that just to show that's how things could just totally mess up things. So
Yeah. Like credit here is a very big deal. A lot of people don't really talk about it
mhm,
because I guess it's just like it's like a taboo basically because everybody's be thinking about, oh yeah, you got your credit card, you use your credit card for vacations or whatever, but people need to understand that having a credit card in this country is a huge deal. Like both me and my sister, we have credit cards and we try to maintain our credit score. Cause at the end of the day, we gotta always remember, okay, we gotta do X, we gotta do Y. This isn't our final destination. We want to do better things or whatever. So if we think about now and then mess up our credit, guess what? How are we going to get a house? How are we going to get a car? How are we going to get cell phones? How we will be paying our bills? Because at the end of the day, like I said, credit is a big deal. And another thing too, for those newcomers coming to this country, do not sign anything off, nothing, maybe in the next 5 to 6 years for anybody. Cause people just tell you, oh, I got bad credit, but I just want to use yours to do X, Y, and Z. And then they give you bad credit. And you haven't done anything yet. And they did a lot to the point they get bad credit, and now basically you get jinxed because your credit now is bad too. So none of nobody tell you, oh man, I got bad credit, this and that, third. No, I never signed off on anything yet since I've been here, and I've been here. This December is gonna be 5 years, right? So I don't no, don't do it.
yeah, and as Tony said, even the car, like for me, I bought a car with my ex husband back in 2019 or 2018, something like that, and we financed it. And obviously, again, it builds up all of this stuff. When you make the payments, it builds up the credit. It shows that you're responsible. That's the whole point, right? Eventually, the car got put in my name solely, and so I was able to completely pay off my car, and now I don't have car payments, right? But let's say we wanted a car in the future. It's not like one of those high end cars or anything. So let's say we wanted a like a more updated car in the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we wanted to do financing, the finance company can see, well, they financed a car for me already and made all the payments, and
Right.
so they're like responsible. So we have no problems. We could shut our eyes, knowing that they're gonna pay off, right? Like when you don't, that's the problem. When you don't make your payments, people say, well, they can't be trusted. Basically,
Or
nobody
their
wants to
frauds.
do anything with somebody that they think is gonna stop paying them or whatever, right? And as Tony said, a credit card is important. People usually have this like, oh, bad viber credit cards. There actually people are at two ends of the spectrum. You have those that don't want to have a credit card at all, and then you have those that have a million credit cards, and you have to
That's
find the
another thing too.
balance.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find a balance. So for us, I think for us, we decided that one credit card was enough because you could always fall into the trap of having too much debt to pay off, and then imagine you have like so much debt on one credit card and you got another big debt on another credit card. It'll take you forever to pay off all the credit cards. Sometimes it's even a little struggle to pay off one credit card, right? So I'm not saying don't get a credit card either, because credit is how you build your credit pretty much. If you have a credit card and you make purchases and you're paying off your credit card or you're paying off the purchases or making payments on things or whatever, it shows, again, it shows the bank, it shows different people that you are responsible and it will come back to benefit you. But if, on the other hand, you have $1 million and you can't pay off what you're supposed to pay off, then it has the opposite effect, basically. So,
And that's important too, what Shanita said about having multiple credit cards, because I find some people can be very greedy, and what happens is people apply and apply and apply, and then the next thing is, for example, I went in the mall the other day, and this person is like, "Oh, we can give you a credit card for
they
$25
give
thousand
you a credit
dollars,
card for everything,
and
even at
you could
Walmart.
do this, you could do that, you could do the next, you could do the third, right?" And everybody hearing the $25,000. The $25,000 don't belong to you. The
Mm-hmm.
$25,000 belong to the bank or whoever they signed up with. Same thing with the Walmart credit card. I signed up with for the Walmart credit card, and they say, "You see me? I am out because I can be forgetful at times. So if I got one single credit card and suddenly just forget, well, was it the 2, 3, 4, and 6, 10 credit cards? You understand? When you're done, you're gonna be in so much debt that you don't even know what ready to turn your head, right? So that's why I say like, cause one credit card will have a maximum at some point. So
Mm-hmm.
even if you max out your card, okay, you could put your card to a particular limit.
Mm-hmm.
But if you got 2 and 3 credit cards, that's literally, if let me say your limit is 10 to 15,000 each. That's $45,000. And if you max out all three, guess what? You ain't Potter. Cause where you gonna get that money from? You understand? But if you got one credit card and you got it up to $15,000 at the max, at $15,000 is still a lot of money. But the reality is you will get it to come down slowly but surely. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So Shanita said a true point there about being careful with having multiple credit cards, because let me tell you that's not easy. I know people that would have been in $30,000 in debt, $50,000 in debt because they were too greedy. Leave the credit cards alone. Get one.
But I can't say greedy because not everybody has had financial literacy. Not everybody, they surely don't teach financial literacy in school.
True.
So not
True.
everybody is educated on finances, whereby they know, oh well, I mean, it would seem like obvious, but some people already have that, and all they could think about is getting another card that can help them clear the first step, and unfortunately, it just runs them into another that is like a trap.
True.
It's like a maze that you have no out. You're
Right.
just constantly finding yourself in that. But even with the one credit card, I find sometimes the banks are so smart that they'll come to you and they'll be like, "Oh, we can give you a credit raise.
Right.
You can go from this one minute they'll give you a $8,000 raise. You can use up to 8,000. Next minute they'll put 12,000. Next minute they'll put 15, and they're gonna keep raising it and raising it. Right? The minute that you exceed or you get to that level, you have problems paying it back. So for me personally, when they come to me, the first time they asked me for a raise on my credit card, like to say, "Oh, we can give you a raise," I said, "Okay," right? But after the first raise, I said, "No, thank you." Every time they come to me and say, "Oh, we can raise your credit card limit," I said, "No, I don't want it raised," because when I go ahead now and let's say I use up all this credit, then I got look to pay it back.
Right.
And the more raise it is, the more you gotta pay it back,
Exactly.
right? You kind of want to control. If you can't pay stuff cash, some things. Yes, I know there's some purchases that are
Have to
important
be.
to me,
Mhm.
but if you can't pay the regular purchases with cash, sometimes you gotta tell yourself, well, if it's not a necessity, just shut your eye to it. There's some things that are necessities that you definitely have to buy, and you might have to buy it on credit. That's fine. But certain things that you don't need, just until you can get to a position where if you use credit, you can pay it back pretty much right away.
Right.
So that's it for me with the topic. I don't know if my sister have anything else to mention.
Um, no. I was thinking something, but then it knows. Oh, I was saying, and that's a very good thing Shin to say. But this is going to be my final point. Financial literacy. I believe, and I was having this conversation only 2 weeks ago. I believe that secondary schools should be teaching students about financial literacy. Teach them about budgeting because there are things in school, I'll be honest, I do not use in my day to day career.
Correct.
For example, physics. I did physics in secondary school. And I can't tell you yet what's the reason for Archimedes' principle, right? But you're teaching me physics and all kind of story, but why am I not being taught how to manage my money properly? How to save? How to budget? These are
How to
things.
invest.
How to invest?
Mm.
How what are we doing in
How
the
to
schools
create
today?
a business.
Right.
Like we are starting our business and sometimes we find it to be a struggle because even marketing we find because we're not people that have like a huge following,
Yeah.
right? As yet, let's put it like that. But things like that would be helpful for people when they're trying to, make something of themselves because times are hard too and
True.
people are just trying to get by. And all these topics are very, very important.
Yes. So with that said, please leave a comment. Let us know how you feel about the topic, how you feel about credit cards, if it's a culture shock for you when you first came to Canada, America, England, wherever you would have migrated to. So yes, please, excuse me, please, please let us know in the comments. So continue to like
Share.
and subscribe. Until next time,
Bye.
bye.
It took very long.